I was very lucky that I had the right mentors.
Yeah.
My dad would say, you live in my house, you eat my food, you do what I say. As you and I know, it's when you put yourself in deep waters, you learn how to swim very quickly, and that's where strength is found.
Yeah.
Money isn't everything. You're not going to take this money to your grave with you. You're not going to take it on the other side, and people are dying for money like it's the last thing on earth. It's not.
Sean, you've been in property 20 plus years now, and you've built it using graft and hard work,
Yes.
the business. And do you see that in kids today at school, leaving school? Do you think they have that mindset of I've got to build something substantial?
I'll be honest with you, the kids today, you get some people who have that concentration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I work with a few kids and they do my videography for me. But they're also telling me they're the only ones who are segregated in their classes, where they're thinking of, like, they pitch to me, like, me and my business partner are doing this right now. And I'm like, I'm so impressed and I want to help them kids.
Yeah.
But they're saying my fellow peers are talking about, I don't know, these little metal bombs that they're talking about, gas bombs and pointless conversations, what party they're going to next weekend, etc. So I'm not sure how.
I think that's not going to benefit them. It's not going to help them. That's what most kids are focusing on.
You need to look at what's going to benefit my future, because you've got the most time, energy and strength while you're young, not when you're older.
Yes.
So people would like to have fun first because they got their whole life to work. That's the wrong mentality. You got to work hard first when you've got the strength, the energy, the drive.
Yes.
And you're inspired. And then later on, you ease it off a bit. Like, this is living proof right now. I worked hard at the start, Saj, and later on, now I'm just making chess moves. I have family time. I have time with, my goal every day is to have one meeting, one meaningful meeting. Am I meeting an accountant, a solicitor, a deal sourcer, or maybe someone that I'm even mentoring?
Yeah.
And then I shape my day around that, because that's success for me. I'm impacting someone's life. I'm buying a deal off them. I'm putting commission in their pocket, or they're giving me a deal. I'm changing someone's life in terms of telling them my 20 years of experience exactly how to get ahead. These are the things. And then around that, I fit my gym in, which is very important for my mental health and my physique and maintenance. So that either happens in the morning or the evening. And then also family time, which is very important, because you have to be present.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I want this to happen and it will just be done.
Yes.
You've
got to invest the time.
You've got to invest the time, because people, when they see something, that's believing it. When they hear something, they don't believe it.
Yes.
So these are things that I believe that people need to focus on.
This way, when people talk about success is having control of your own time and choosing what you want to do and when you want to do it. It means different things to different people, but ultimately it's about choices, isn't it? So you're able to make those choices now because of decisions you made years ago to graft.
Well, there's something called delayed gratification.
Yeah.
It's something that you get later on in life. You can't feel it, touch it, or even perceive like, what is this going to be in the future? But you just do it anyway. So for me, I was very lucky that I had the right mentors.
Yes.
My dad would say, you live in my house, you eat my food, you do what I say.
Yes.
So I'd go in the shop and I'd have to open stuff from the packets, price it up, and take the old stock out. LIFO, FIFO is the accounting practice, last in, first out. You put the new dates in and then the old products in afterwards.
Yes. This in the shop.
In the shop.
Yeah.
And then you'll put the old stock at the back, etc. And making sure, when a customer walked in, hi Tracy, how you doing? Make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
Because this feeds our plate right now. This puts food on the table. So you got to make sure you're doing your bit. But did we get paid? No. We was lucky to get them 25p Panda Pops. They were all different color, bubblegum flavor, strawberry flavor. We were lucky to get that. You would go blue in the face. And when you're brought up like that, you appreciate every single penny. When you brought up around money like that, you think, how do I treat money? How do I perceive money? How do I appreciate it? How do I budget money? Because I've had times where I've never been around money. And most importantly, how do I earn money?
Yes.
So you got to be vigilant. Don't just go into a space and say, I'm just going to do this and make this one burger. You have no value. You are replaceable just like that.
Yes, just a cog.
Just like that. And how do you create value? Well, for example, when I worked in McDonald's, I learned chicken side, I learned grill side, I learned how to put batch cooking. I learned one of the hardest role was the till, talking to customers, 100 buttons in front of me and coordinating the kitchen.
Yeah.
What happened? I raised my value. I became indispensable. Because if they got rid of me, they also got rid of a cashier, chicken side person, grill side person, someone on dining area, and someone also in car park area. So I made my value go up. So a lot of the times, we're just staying in a job and paying our bills.
Yeah. And when we're in those kind of average job, if you like, people don't really think about how can I make myself indispensable? How can I make myself so valuable to this organization that they need me?
Yeah, I mean, people don't look at it. Do you know why? Because they get too comfortable. And in comfort, you don't grow in comfort. Yeah, it's just like, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you did something new? When was the last time you done a new hobby? You tried a new food, you tried a new skill, or done a new mentorship program or a course, for example? When was the last time you did that? Why don't you do these things?
Yes.
Fear? It's fear that controls you. It stops you from doing other things. But as you and I know, it's when you put yourself in deep waters, you learn how to swim very quickly, and that's where strength is found.
Yeah.
You find out how to swim very quickly, and you grow from these situations.
Yeah.
And these days, it feels like a lot of the younger generation don't want to do anything that causes them any sort of pain or anything hardship, because they feel that it's too hard and my mental health is suffering. Look, I know some of you do, and it is a case that it does happen, but let's not try to make that our focus.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you focus on that, that's what will happen.
Yes.
When you focus
that as your environment, then yeah.
100%. And when you focus on something which is positive, that's the frequency you will vibrate on.
You think now in this environment of social media, where it is literally scrolling, immediate dopamine hits is what it's about, that this idea of deferred gratification has just completely gone out the window?
The thing is, you've got to, look, we all do it. I know you guys are doing it because I'm doing it. I go through, I look at yours, I look at Steve Hamilton, I look at Kazi, I look at Savoy Properties, but I look at it in a different way. I'm not consuming content. I'm also looking at what you are doing good and what engagement are you getting. So when you're on social media,
from a learning perspective, of what can I gain from how it's being done rather than just consuming.
100, so you need to look at what other people are doing good. You're either looking at someone teaching you something and you're writing these notes down and saying, I'm going to do that tomorrow, make a change. Or you're saying, right, I also want to get in this industry, and how do I make myself better? What will make me different? I love Saj, I love Steve, I love Kazi, I love Savoys, I love all of these boys, but what makes me me? And this is my market research right now. And also, your network is your net worth. If I'm not watching you, then what am I watching? Rubbish?
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather be watching you than rubbish, because I'm learning off you something, you know? Like, you've always got to be coachable in life. You've always got to be ready to learn. You're 20 years ahead of me, 10 years ahead of me. I'm not sure, but I know you have more experience
Only
than me.
hairs.
But I know you have more experience than me, so I'd want to be following you. My granddad always said, put yourself with there's older people around you. You'll learn something. Doesn't matter if you learn 1%.
Yeah.
Imagine every single day if you're learning 1%. Yeah, in 5 days, 20 days on a working day in the month, you know, at the end of 10 months, 200 days, you're learning something. You know, you're going to be learning something, but you're not going to be learning it down the pub.
Yeah.
You're not.
There's so much wisdom from the older generation, and many of them were uneducated when they came to this country, the first generation of Asians. And it was just a case of working the factories, the foundries, a lot of manual work. And some were entrepreneurial enough to think, okay, how can we now break out of that pattern, start building something for ourselves? But actually, a lot of people tend to dismiss the wisdom that comes from that older generation.
The older generation, you can't put money on that and the older generation, because they've seen days that we've never seen.
Yes.
You know, they've seen days where they've had no clothes or money.
Yes.
My granddad's told me how in a second there's a war and you lose everything. Yes. You don't have no paperwork for this building, it's gone, finished, and you're starting from zero again. Yes. You're walking the streets with no shoes on and you're selling candy floss. I've heard about them days, which makes me very humble and appreciate money so much. Because when you hear about that, you think that could have been me.
Yes.
And we're very privileged to live in the UK. We're very privileged that, you know, we could get benefits or, you know, the system of comfortability here.
Yeah.
So we're not starting from where they've started. So we should be springboarding.
We're definitely not starting from zero here. And you're right. We are in an environment which offers huge opportunity, but that opportunity could be sitting on your backside and do nothing, and your benefits will pay your bills and keep a roof over your head. Or you use that, as you said, you springboard, because there is no ceiling. There's, especially when we talk about in property and in business, there is no glass ceiling.
100. If they came from nothing and they got here with zero, then what are we capable of? A lot more. And we have no excuses. And this is why I also say traveling, if you don't have that sort of experience, then go and travel.
Yeah.
Go and look at less deprived countries. And it doesn't have to be expensive. I just went to Naples in March. I spent £49 return. Yeah, I spent some money on a hotel and some food, but I'm just telling you how easy it is. It's very easy to spend £500 on Fendi top. Yeah, but £49 will get you to another country and it get you a different experience. I did about 28,000 steps every single day, and I looked at the city, the area, the people, and I like to be vigilant and learn and be a sponge. And so how are you spending your money? How are you gaining experience? Because every single day is an opportunity to learn. And if you're not learning every day, what are you doing here? What is your purpose?
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be sitting down with the wrong crowds, doing the wrong things. Where is that going to get you? Think about it. Sometimes we all make mistakes, but the quicker we rectify it, the better. Take a break sometimes, take a step back and take a deep breath and realize, what am I doing? Because even 24 hours can make a difference on your situation. You know, sometimes we do it impulse. I'm going to buy that, or that looks great, this looks amazing. And then after, how many times do we go, why did I take that on a credit card? I have to pay this for the next 6 months now. And then you start hating yourself. When you hate yourself, you're already working against the grain.
Yeah.
Because the whole world, no one's out there to help you. No one's else going to give you a hand up and give you a leg up and say, look, I'm going to help you. No one's there. No matter how much they say. There's no savior. So you got to start with yourself, and your mind has got to say, I love myself. I'm comfortable with being myself. What are me and you going to do? Because I'll be honest with you, I talk to myself a lot. I'll go for a drive and I say, Sean, what's your day looking like? What are we doing? And that's completely normal if you want to make it normal.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to make it a crazy thing, then you can make it a crazy thing. But I know it's only me and myself. I know since the day I was born, it's just me and myself. Yes, you've got mentors and other people around you, but it's all about action. And only you can make that action. People like yourself can tell me, Sean, invest here, do this, do that. Unless I take action, it means nothing.
Yes.
And that's a lot of people. Some people sit in a room and say to themselves, oh, I've made it because I'm in a room with Saj, or I'm with Sean, or I'm with this person or that person. No, you have to take action.
Yes.
What are you going to do? What are your next moves? You've got to be making plans. You've got to make a schedule. You've got to say, I'm doing this by when, and you've got to have a deadline, and you've got to have accountability. And if you're not, then you're just guessing, and then your whole life will be a guess.
I love that. I love that. Oh, was the mindset that led you to buy a property at 21? That was when you purchased your first property?
My first house was bought at 21, and I'd already been working in my dad's shop. I'd worked in a cash and carry. I'd worked in McDonald's already. And guess what? I still kept the McDonald's job all the way up until 30.
Okay.
I didn't have no pride or no ego. At the age of 21, I applied to the bank before I graduated. 3 months later, I got an interview. And before I even graduated, I got my job. And this is the thing, you've got to plan ahead. Because if you're not planning ahead, there will be surprises that come on your path. And for my other peers, it was the credit crunch in 2008.
Yeah.
And when that happened, a lot of my friends stayed unemployed for the next 3 years because they felt they needed a gap year and they needed to travel for a year, and they came back to a credit crunch. Then another couple of years, the economy is not good. We're not getting a job. Similar to what's happening right now. So this conversation is still very relevant for those who are listening. But for me, I applied by Christmas time. By February, I had my first telephone interview. By April, I had a competency test. And then in June, before I even graduated, I had a face-to-face interview with my branch manager. It was Katie Giles at the time, I still remember. And she said, I'll let you know by the Monday. I got off the central line under the underground. I already had a voicemail. Look, Sean, I can't wait to tell you this. I can't wait till Monday. You've got the job already. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I've got time now. I've done my exams. let's go. And I had to actually say, I'll take on the job if you give me a day off for my graduation. And they said, of course, we're going to give you that day off. I said, all right, cool. I'm going to start. Started as a cashier. No graduate program, nothing amazing. Just started learning how to count money and spot opportunities on accounts. Or a large balance or big direct debit is a mortgage. Like, how can we help you with your investment needs, your saving needs? And I learned the art of speaking and speaking professionally in the West End. And with that, not only did I take that experience, because I excelled in my job, I got bonuses, which helped me. And Saturday and Sunday, I'd work £100 on Saturday, £100 on Sunday, which was £800 a month. I could survive on that. And I was happy to survive on that.
Yes.
And my full 1600 what I used to get, bang it into the savings. 10 months, £16,000. And then I saw my first house, 140,000 in Dagenham. It was the mortgage advisor who was desperate to sell. And I put a 10% deposit, completed the deal. I went in to move myself, and I realized it wasn't the right move to do. Sometimes we think we know it all as kids. Moved into this house. After 2-3 months, I realized I had to pay bills, shopping money, council tax, electric bills.
All that money you'd saved was slowly kind of
disintegrating. I went, this is not good. I called up the bank. I went, look, I've had an argument with the neighbor. I'm not staying here. They said, that's fine. Just sign this form to say we'll give you permission to let.
Consent to let.
Give us a give us a check with this amount, and we'll let you let it now until your renewal comes. I did that, and became an accidental landlord at that stage. So I looked at the rental market, a couple of agents pitched, and it was worth £1,000.
Wow.
My mortgage was £500. I went, hang on, £500, £6,000 a year. Earning money from Barclays, earning money from Mackie D's, and now I'm going to be earning money from there. This property. So I'm like, it's multiple streams of income. Yeah. So I was like, this sounds good. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the money that I saved from these 3 jobs and buy another one. And that's exactly what I did. So, but I was like, the money's not growing fast enough. So what did I do? I got promoted in my job. It took me 8 months to move off a cashier desk and move on a coordinator desk. All of a sudden, I broke another barrier. And within 4 months, they put me on a personal banking desk. And I went very quickly from 1,500 to 2.5 grand. So that's like 25 grand for me because I'm paying a little bit of bills at home with my parents. Giving them 500 quid a month for shopping, etc. I'm saving plowing everything away into the savings. And I literally went, I don't need no designer wear because that's not going to give me any value back. I just keep my expenses low as possible. I used to take a coffee with the reusable cup from home. I used to take my chicken and rice that my mum had cooked the day before and put it in a tub and put it in my bag over my shoulder. And on lunchtime, I used to heat it up. That's £5 saved, £25 a week. That's £200 a month. I saved £4 on coffees. What's that? £40 every 10 days. 4, 8, 12, £120 on coffees a month. All of a sudden, I'm in the plus. In the plus, I'm saving from everywhere. If I got invited to a dinner, great. Thank you very much for dinner. And I'm going to do my best service for you. So I still had a good time. And once a month, I'd go out with my friends. And what's 100 quid compared to when you're pulling in 2-3 grand a month? And so I didn't keep the task in hand. I didn't take my eye off the ball. I got promoted within 3 years. I was on £70,000. I was look after millionaires in the bank. After 12 months of doing a personal banking job, I was a premier manager. And from being a premier manager, it just was even easier for me. It wasn't harder. It got easier.
Clients are
wealthier. I knew exactly how to talk to them. And they would ask things like, so sometimes when you're starting from the bottom, you think, why am I starting here? This is no good. Well, actually, it was really good for me because I'd had my top clients go to one of the other premier managers. Says, yes, I've got a check here for £50,000. Mr. Land, how long does this take to clear? I'm like, that would be 5 working days, Mr. Jones. And if you put it on Monday, by Friday, we'll have them cleared funds. You'd ask another premier manager who'd never done a cashier job. It's like, not too sure about that. Let me go downstairs and let me check with the cashiers. So your credibility, and these people are time poor, cash rich. So they want answers straight away. So the quicker I could give them an answer, the more credible I'd look. They'd look at this young man in front of them and go, what does he know? But when I open my mouth, I'm like, you're here to make money or save money. How do I do that? I'm working for you. And I told them, I'm working for Barclays, but I'm also working here for you right now. What do you want from me? What are your goals?
How can I help?
And when you find out their goals, you say, right, I've got the mortgage advice, and even stuff that I didn't know, I got myself in that room. So I'm like, Anish, you want to do your mortgage target and you want 2 mortgage leads off me every single month. Mate, I don't know what's going on. And he goes, all right, so what can I do about it? I said, let me sit on one of your meetings. So I sat down and I was like, okay, so he looks at 5 times their incomes, their multiples. He looks at this X amount for their percentage for the loan. He looks at a whole load of criteria, and he uses his mortgage calculator. So I could even do half of his work without even being like, unregulated.
By understanding what's involved.
By fact finding.
Yes.
And by doing that fact finding, I always gave him a lead and he almost signed it up, which meant he was very happy with me.
Yeah.
And then it's also about working with your team members. So if I'm reaching his targets, he wants 2 and I'm giving him 4 a month, he's like, thanks, Sean. Like, you've really helped me out here. My manager is not on my back at all because you're doing all my targets. And the 1 month that I have a bummer month and I'm like, bro, nothing's worked out, he's like, don't worry, Sean, these 2 people walked in, put it under your name, and I'll say you've given me the lead. So it's all about teamwork and how do you help each other? And that's all life is. Life is very simple. It's us as human beings who overcomplicate the whole process. You just work with people, you earn an honest living, don't try to cheat anybody, and things will flourish in front of you. And it's not like 2 + 2 is 4, + 2 is 6, + 8. Life isn't like that. It will compound you downwards or it will compound you upwards. 2 × 2 is 4, 4 × 4. It goes up and up and up and up. And that's what people don't want to be here for. They don't want to be there for the ride. They want it here and now.
Instantly.
And when it doesn't happen, Saj, honestly, they lose momentum and then they're not happy about something. And the problem is when you start having pride and you think you're too good for the process and you jump off that train, everything stops. The income stops that you thought you were valued at. You're looking and applying for other jobs 3 months. Your expenses are going up. You get yourself in the red. You get yourself in trouble and your situation just gets worse. So if you do think your value is good, then look for something else while you're doing the task in hand. And while you're doing this task in hand, when a better opportunity comes up, you go and have a little look. If it looks secure, you speak to your manager and say, look, I believe my value is more because of X, Y, and Z. Can you offer me something better? And if you can't, I'm going to be jumping ship. And you should always be thinking in that mindset every 2 years. Because first 12 months, you've got to give it to your boss. He's invested a lot of time, training, and effort into you. You've got to show that gratification and master your skill. Second, you've got to be climbing that ladder to be the best you can be. And then after that, if you're not excelling anymore and you're hitting a ceiling, look what else you can do or if you can internally grow. And that's how you keep moving in a honest and concise way, in my opinion. That's what I've always followed.
There's a lot of amazing things you just shared there. I mean, sort of the basics of skilled communication. I think it's just the foundation of being able to do well in life. Having the right attitude. And it's one of those things that, when I'm looking to work with somebody, the attitude I can't teach or train. They have to have that attitude. They have to have that right mindset. The ability to be like a sponge, be coachable and constantly be looking for how can I learn, how can I improve, how can I add value to somebody else rather than just what's in it for me. And there's just so many amazing nuggets that you've shared in just that those few minutes. I just want to go over some of those again and think, and I'd probably encourage people to go back and watch this again. There's just so much you just said. It's amazing. And I really appreciate that. So how did life transition for you then? Clearly, you kind of work very hard, number of jobs, saving, not wasting money. This is not about impressing somebody else. It's about how can I kind of get a head start in life? How did things then progress then from there?
So basically, I carried on working in the bank. And then life throws you a curveball, doesn't it? You think everything's going amazing. You're thinking, I've got these houses in the background. I bought one on 21, bought my second one on my 23rd birthday. I bought another one, and I reached millionaire status by the age of 26. First of all, they talk about mental health, and you think there's depression when you're poor, but there's also depression on the other side, because since the age of 13, I had the goal, I'm going to become a millionaire. It took me 13 years to ace that, and I became a millionaire, and there's 2 things that happened. First of all, my accountant goes, this property's worth 250. 300. Oh, you're over 1 million now, Sean. And I'm like, okay. And I just felt this calmness. And I was like, what now?
Yeah, reach a destination.
You reach the destination and it's like, it doesn't feel as fun anymore. No one's congratulating. No one.
There's no big party, no fanfare when you got there.
It was the first or second time. Now it's like, oh, you bought another one. Well done, bro. It was no gratification. And let's talk about a little bit about boxing, because you see Tyson Fury, when he became world champion in Dusseldorf and he just beat Klitschko, and then he came back to the UK in Manchester, there was not a single person in Manchester airport waiting to greet him or clap for him. And that was his biggest moment on his life that he's ever wanted to do. I really resonated with him. When I saw him, I was like, no wonder he didn't want to fight after that. And then he ballooned up to 30 stones because he actually thought, what's my purpose now?
What's it all about?
What am I going to do next now? I've been world champion. That's all I've ever wanted to do.
Because you have your head down, you focus on doing one thing,
100.
Nothing else matters. And then you get there and you think, well, this is it.
Yeah. And this is when you got to change the goalpost and you got to say, hang on, life is more than just about money. Life is about, what else am I doing apart from money? Money is just a vehicle.
Yes.
It's a tool. Yeah, it's a tool. It gets you things. It gets you nice things. It gets you cars. It gets you the house. It gets you private schooling for your kids. You know, it gets you a lot of things that you want in life. But money isn't everything. You're not going to take this money to your grave with you. You're not going to take it on the other side. And people are dying for money like it's the last thing on earth. It's not. It's just a tool that we've got to master, you know, with the right mentors and say, how do we know how to use this tool and get into the best rooms and best position as possible?
Yeah.
Nothing more than that. You've got your health. So I then competed on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the background, I was a builder, and after my building jobs, I used to go to the gym, and then I started following a good diet plan and a good training plan, and I needed a new focus, and I wanted to get on stage in front of 600 people. So I got on stage and I done it all, but even after doing that, I was like, I just felt like a piece of meat.
What was it on stage doing?
Men's physique. It was men's physique.
Yeah.
It wasn't to win a trophy or be a champion. It was just another thing that I have accomplished. It was another focus to make me not think about just this one thing. And I was overweight at the time, you know, a couple of stones heavier. I had dark circles in the bank, and I wasn't seeing my family a lot. So I made the transition into be an entrepreneur full-time. I had 4 mortgages on my head, so I kept the McDonald's job just as a little safety net in case. I knew that
mindset stuck with you right from a young age that, you know, I need to make sure that I've got safety plans, I've got
100.
backups, got money saved.
I had a little bit saved on the side, and I kept a couple of days at McDonald's. Even being a millionaire, you have no pride, you have no ego. This is just to make sure.
Yeah, the person next to you doesn't need to know you've got 4 properties and then you've got money coming in.
That's it. No one needed to know. And so I did that on the side, and I did these building jobs, and it was quite lucrative doing these building jobs, and I had more freedom of my time. I'd disappear off the site to go to the gym. I could take little pack lunches. I wasn't too far from home. I took local jobs on.
Yes.
So I learned how to be an entrepreneur. Was I the best builder? Well, this is how I went into building. I employed the top builder and paid him a day rate. And I said, what do you need? He said, I need a labourer. I went, okay, I can sort that out. And he goes, I need material. I said, cool, I can sort that out. And he goes, so where's my labourer? I said, I'm here.
Yeah.
And so I said, what do you want? He goes, I want this plaster mix. I put the tristle plaster, put the water in, mix it with the mixer. Here you go. There is on your travel.
Yes.
I'm there for you. Oh, I need 4 bags of plaster. Don't worry. Have your lunch. Boom. Off to the building shop. Put it over my shoulder. Put it into the car.
Yes.
There you go. There's your material. That's as hard as building work can go. And I learned that by being this person's little assistant, I learned what material he needed and what he needed from me as a labourer. And later on, I learned how to leverage. And so I got other people to do the labourer job because I knew I would now have more time to have a look and source my materials, and I could earn my 60, 70 pound a day just by sourcing the materials and afford to pay this labourer, to then which I learned how to leverage the banks. And when I created a value, you know, now it's called the BRRR. I didn't know I was doing the BRRR. I'd refurb a property, create more value, and then I realized that they were prepared to give me a loan without paying any tax on it. I learned how to do that. And when I learned that art, it put everything on steroids. And I was just on that sweet spot where I had a couple of properties in East London, and the Olympics were just about to happen, and so was Crossrail, and everything went from like 200 to 400 jump, and then 500 jump. And the banks were like, how much do you want, Mr. Land? 200, 250? Yes, please. And you're paying free £400 extra on your loan. There you go, low interest rates.
Yes.
Took the money on, and I planted more seeds and bought a couple of HMOs and a couple of other houses. I got other people to manage. I actually done a few rent-to-rents without even knowing. So 2 of my properties that my dad started investing in the 90s, he goes, this property's always giving me trouble. And I looked at it, it's a HMO. And I saw one of the biggest rooms with 2 big window lights.
Yes.
And I was like, we can put a partition in that. They're more than 8 square meters, which is what the regulation was. I can create 2 more rooms here. 500, 500, 3 more rooms. That's 2.5 grand. Yeah, it was 1,500. I can clear another grand on top of this. All right, there's 300-400 of bills, 700. I'm already doing this. I just put the rooms into the spare room app, so create a couple of extra rooms, and we're there.
Yes.
And I just started doing that. So I started learning how to create more cash flow, and took another one of these. He saw I was doing well. He gave me another one. So I done 2. And on a really bad month, I didn't make money. But it's all right, because I was proud that I could pay my father his rent.
Yes.
I'm like, at least it wasn't empty, and here's your
Took the
rent.
stress off him.
I would do that for my father anyway.
Yes.
Money between me and him doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
To have mentorship and him being present and teaching me all the lessons, I can never repay him from that. So when I was doing these rent from rent, I actually felt guilty that I was making £500 or £700 a month extra. And then on 2 properties, it was £1,400. So what was I doing with this money? I was reinvesting all of it. I still kept that McDonald's wage all the way to the age of 30. And a lot of people don't believe that. But when you do that, you make the impossible impossible. That's all I gotta say.
And you know, it strikes me that you've always gone in from ground level and think, okay, how do I understand this? How do I work? Whether it's at the bank, whether it's at McDonald's, whether it's kind of understanding mortgages, whether it's the building trade, everything's right. Give me the basics. Let me understand. I'll do whatever it takes, and I'll learn and build my knowledge and understanding and work my way up.
I like to learn processes, and the best way to learn is from the ground up.
Yes.
Obviously, now we don't like to spend too much time on the ground, but we are faster thinking.
Yes.
So like, for example, we're doing a podcast right now. Well, how do I get my podcast? Well, I need a couple of cameras, I need a good studio, and I need a great studio host and someone with a good personality who knows what he's talking about. You're qualified. You're qualified to be having this conversation right now. There's certain people who are there with just the script. You're not. There's no script here, because you've been through life. You know, you can't teach that. And that's what people need to realize. There's who is teaching you out there? Who are you listening to? Because you got to realize, what is their credibility? Are they just, they've read a script and they're going, yeah, I can help change your life and create financial freedom. There is no easy route. There is no fast way. There's cleverer routes. You can work smarter being with the right people. So, you know, people have to do their due diligence there.
Yes.
When they're looking at these sort of factors at the end of the day. So when you start at the beginning, you take one step at a time. You do baby work and step. And how fast you move the process is down to you. You can spend a lifetime and wait for a pension at the end of it and say, yeah, I learned my whole life how to be a cashier, because I know 5-6 years in the bank, where I started in cashiering, them cashiers are still cashiers.
Wow.
Or you can choose to look up and go, I'm not going to get comfortable, and I'm going to keep moving. And I'm going to get on that train and move as fast as I want, because I've got limited time on this earth. I'm going to leverage as much books, knowledge, mentors along my journey, and prepare myself to get to the next level. Because this is not about properties, and it's not about money or gold or assets. It's about your brain. Everyone's got one between their ears, and it's about your mindset, and it's what you want to vibrate on. Are you on a fixed mindset, or are you in a growth mindset? Because a growth mindset is always coachable. It's always a student of life to say, how can I move to the next step and make it better? To believe somebody and say, well, you can try this, and change a disc in your head and say, let me take that blocking self-belief out of my head and let me allow it. And let me get a brand new key to open up a new room in my head to allow me to walk into that room and be coachable to all of these new things. And when you do that, you'll see people like Jeff Bezos, and you'll see people like Elon Musk out there who will still be in a multi-billionaire, the most richest man on the planet, still be sleeping on the shop floor and getting up for work, because it's not about the money no more. It's about being the best in your craft. It's about a bigger purpose. It's about what am I doing for humanity? What mark am I going to leave and legacy I'm going to leave when I'm long gone? Because he's made it in the history books, just like Einstein, just like Henry Ford. People have left things, and this is all you leave, is these sort of memories on earth. And so when you reach your purpose, your thinking becomes that much bigger, you know, and I think people fail to see that.
Yes. And, you know, people are blessed with the same amazing brain, as you mentioned. We're here on this earth. None of us know how long we're going to be here for, as you say, but we choose how we use our brain and how we spend the time that we've been given and what we do with it. And we look at some people around us, people achieved amazing things, like, you know, Bezos, for example, Musk, people like that. Their thinking is on like a different level, but they're being blessed with the same brain, same 24 hours. It's how they choose to use it, I think, is is absolutely key. And highlighting that, as you've said, who are we looking for guidance? Who are we looking up to? Is it the social media influencers? Is it film stars? Is it the rappers? Who are we looking up to get our guidance from? And is that really what we want? Is that really what we want to be?
People just got to be present. You know, I've recently just done an interview with Michael Page, and he's now ranked #1 Bellator champion. And so we was talking, and he goes, Sean, I'm going to be on HBO, and this is the first show from Bellator that's getting on there. Last week I was with 50 Cent, and we were driving down the freeway, and that guy should have a show. So what's it like with these people? And he goes, it's just like me and you having a conversation. Real recognizes real. I know there's certain people who'd pay £25,000 to be next to a certain influencer or a billionaire. But let me tell you something, a billionaire is even more humble than you and I. They have a normal t-shirt on and they talk normal. That's why they are a billionaire.
Yes.
And that's how they do sort of conduct themselves. So let's stop, you know, like procrastinating and thinking it's going to be this or that or this. It's just, life is simple and normal. The more simple you keep it and the more grounded you keep it and focus the task in hand is how you'll get somewhere. Because I know what it feels like to have nothing. I really do. I know what it feels like to walk into school with high-tech trainers, or sharing your dad's jumper, or coming in because your haircut's all bent because your dad cut it the day before. I've seen them days and I know how it feels, you know. So you just got to stay present and appreciate life. And whatever you want to do, you can do it and you can achieve it, providing you want it. I could have easily gone off the rails if I didn't listen, but I chose to listen to the older people around me, and I chose to be in them boring rooms that were not exciting because I wanted to achieve something. Today, at the age of 37, I get to decide if I want to go traveling tomorrow. I get to decide if I want to buy that property, or I say no, it's not for me. It doesn't make a difference to my life. And that is real power, because I get freedom of my time and move around wherever I want to, without asking permission from a boss. Can I get holiday? Without asking permission from, you know, the mortgage provider. Can I have a holiday on my mortgage payment because I can't pay it this month because I want to do this or that. I have freedom of my time, and you can't put a price on that. So, you know, if I live up to the average expectancy of what a man is, which is probably 70, I'm only halfway through my life with the rest of my life freedom of my time, you know, and you can't put a price on that itself. So this is what the message is, and this is what people need to realize. This is the result of hard work, is the result of being around your network, the right people, is the result of educating yourself with the things that you want to go into, and is the result of having the right experience in the right sectors. And not only that, you know, last couple of years during COVID, a lot of people sat at home and not a lot was happening. I ended up setting up a kitchen, a dark kitchen. So all them years of McDonald's, of flipping burgers and customer service and being a manager for most of it, you know, we had a concept of creating just Greek foods, souvlakis and gyros. It either had Tyra cafeteria sauce or tzatziki sauce. So what did you need? Well, we need a kitchen and we need somewhere for the drivers to pick up the food. All right, we found the location next to Liverpool Street. And because everything was closed, it was a bonus for anybody who allowed you to open their kitchen, because they're getting money for nothing. It's going to be closed otherwise. We bought a couple of hot grills, cooked the food and put it in a bain-marie to make it hot. We cut the salads, and I did get an A for food technology, by the way. So cut the salads, tomatoes, etc. And we got all of them ready. And, so we were all set up. Soon as an order come on, there you go. Put the hot oven naan on there. Once it's done, you put it there on the wrapper. Tzatziki sauce, boom. Salads, boom. Bain Marie, is it souvlaki? What is it? Lamb, beef, chicken, or the gyros? You take your tongs, put it on there, wrap it up. And how do we make this Instagrammable? All right, we put some chips on there and put some paprika sauce, and that looks Instagrammable. People love this on Instagram. Pack it up, boom. Within 9 weeks, £1,000 a day. £1,000 a day is a business that turns over 365,000 a year. And we started off with the buy one, get one free, and also half price. How was we making money? Well, people like to add the sides.
Okay.
This whole salad would cost me 10 quid. I put a bit of base salad, couple of cherry tomatoes, couple of feta cheeses, oregano on top, put it in a pack, £4.50. They would buy it.
Yes.
What's it cost me? 10p?
Yeah, the upsells.
10p? Boom, there you go. My days in my shop, in the cash and carry. How much would the can of Coke cost me? 28p? Boom, £2.50. And my partner was just like, nah, that's too expensive. We're not a corner shop.
Yes.
We're a restaurant. On the website, they're seeing a restaurant, mate, so we're selling that. £2.50. Now, I'm not trying to rip anybody else off. I looked online, and the closest competitor was selling it £3 or £2.80. So £2.50 was actually cheap, actually. It was cheaper than the competitors, but it was enough margin to make £2 a drink.
Yes.
Now, when you had 2 of them drinks, there's £4 margin. You had 10 of them, you're making 40 quid, just like that. And you start getting ahead. Then you taking fries, and you're putting oregano. I go, there you go, there's oregano fries.
Yes.
Oh, let's grate some feta cheese on it. There you go. There's feta cheese there for you. Feta fries. Yeah, that's £4.50 as well. You want extra sauces? Well, if you want the taste, you got to pay for the taste. All right, there's teriyaki sauce. There's tzatziki sauce. There you go. Give me 50p for that then. We started playing smart. And this is what it is about business. You just got to be smart. And I purely did that for a hobby. So for those of you who are saying, I don't have a side hustle, I'm uninspired, this one idea that I did in COVID that I just did it to get out the house.
Yes.
And I nearly burnt myself to the ground doing it because of all the other stuff. But I did it for a couple of months of my life and sold it on. And you can even write the script and sell the franchise to somebody abroad and say, here you go, Subway's 150,000 for this franchise, we'll charge you 50 grand. How about that? Sell 10 of them, £500,000 in your bank account, and say, look, this is the concept. You need to have this many grills, this many salads. You can take our little recipe. This is our supplier. Here's the formula. Simple as that. Don't tell me you can't do a side hustle. Don't tell me it's hard out there. Don't tell me money makes money. If you have an idea and you have an effort to work, you can do and achieve anything that you want to do in your life, whether that's property, investments. Be the best employee and live the life on your terms and how you want to. You just got to be inspired. You've just got to want to do it yourself.
Yes.
You got to want to push the boundaries. You got to not say, I'm going to live whatever. I'm born into a 9 to 5. I'm going to stay there. No, don't accept that lifestyle. Accept the lifestyle you want to. Yeah, because there's a system that's been created for you. It's up to you if you want to accept that system. Yeah, you can play in that system for a little while, but once you know the game, start growing from that game. Because there's other things, there's different scriptures, that will teach you that life is supposed to be this way, and you're saying, but it's not this way around. Be awake, awaken yourself and awaken your senses and say, I can do, believe it, achieve it, go for it. Just don't stop, because the only person stopping you is you. And if you've stopped yourself, that's it. You've lost the game already.
Yeah. So that person you look at in the mirror every day is the person that decides where you're going to go. And, we are where we are because the micro decisions we made in our life to get to that particular point. And whatever our destiny is in the future is going to be based on the decision we start making and which way we decide to go. And there'll be people watching and listening this to right now, and they'll be thinking they're in an environment with people around them, whether it's work colleagues, whether it's friends, whether it's family, that are not really supportive and helping them lift out of that environment. And maybe sometimes it's, the family, they love them and they don't want them to risk anything and break out of that pattern. And that's why they're holding them back, as opposed to they don't want them to do well. And other times there'll be people, maybe subconsciously it's not a case that they don't want them to do well. They don't want to change that environment they have. They don't want to lose what they already have with somebody. How can somebody make that first step to say, I need to change the environment I'm in because it's not supporting me, it's not serving me. And how do I get onto that path? I've been inspired, getting that side hustle started.
You need to talk, you need to communicate, you need to have interpersonal skills. You need to talk to your family, sit down and have a chat with them, you know, and say, look, this is what I want to do. You got to remember, not everyone's going to be on your journey, even your parents or your siblings especially. There's some people who are going to have competition with you, and certain people are going to push their beliefs, what they believe, onto you. They're going to tell you what's in their head with the experience they've had, with the risks they've taken, with the disbeliefs that they've had also. So when they hear what you want to do, they're going to put their mindset into that situation and give you an answer based on that. It's not their fault. It's not your father's fault, your mother's fault, your kid's fault, your friend's fault. It's just
That's their life experiences
that they've been laid with. So do not take it as an offense. But whatever you want to do now, you do it. But you need to have conviction. So if you do something in your life, don't just talk about it. You've got to attach a value next to it. So when you think of, for example, a banana, say I've thought of a banana and now I'm going to get a banana. No, think of a banana, now draw a banana. Now you draw the banana, now color the banana. Now get a real banana, now it's real, yeah? And now find somebody who can market that and buy that banana off you because you've now made it real. If you just think about it and just leave it in your thoughts, it doesn't become a thing.
Yes.
Because thoughts become things. If you draw it, if you manifest, if you make it, you can't just think of something and go in your bed in the morning. I woke up this morning and I want this business. The next day, I hate my life because that business doesn't happen. I want this business and I'm going to take these 3 actions to make that happen today. You're going to discuss it with your family, your brothers, your sisters. Whoever's on your path who can help and support you, they will help and guide you and support you. And where they hit a ceiling, you've just got to say, okay, you just don't know about this anymore. And I thank you for serving the purpose that you have in my life so far. And I still love you and you still mean everything to me. It's just that you're not on this part of the journey now. So I either need a new mentor or I need to start upskilling myself on YouTube or using AI or, you know, any sort of information technology, Google, and I need to start making tracks and finding this new path that you can't currently guide me on. But one thing, you know, parents and family do is they give you a very good foundation. They give you all the basic needs to get you off that ground. And so you never forget that gratification of what they've done for you. I could be 100 times bigger than my father right now, and I will still be his little boy, and I'll be happy to be his little boy. And I'll still say, sorry, Dad, thank you, Dad. And that's what's a little bit lost out there because people think they're bigger and stronger and they can bully their own parents and disrespect their own parents. How dare you do that? These guys change your diapers, your nappies, they feed you. You never, ever do anything like that. These are your living gods. Yeah. And that's what's really important. So there's a difference on they can't serve you and they can't help you anymore. Doesn't mean there's any disrespect there now. It just means that's the end of the knowledge that they have.
You're standing on the shoulders of those giants.
100. And without a foundation, like let's talk about property. You can't build up until you dig down. You have to go down and build that foundation. And then only you can build a big tower if you wanted to. And that's what's holding that tower up. Are your mum, dad, your family, your parents. These are the people who hold you up to allow you to build. Because remember, part of your father's project was you. If you succeed, he succeeded already because you were part of his plan. So don't have competition with that person. You know, I know it's gone a little bit family and a little bit passionate.
But this is so important.
It is because there's a lot of people out there who are really lost, Saj, and they think it's this make-believe, makeshift, you know, reality out there, and they see people and they see rappers, and we're around these boys. You see what they are. It's just all make-believe. It's just social media. Social media is supposed to be 10 times amplified. It's not real life. It's not reality, you know, and as soon as you believe that and you believe where you are is really good and appreciate that, try to spend a little bit of time with yourself. Go for a walk with yourself and be comfortable with yourself, because that's when you're also going to start to excel in your ability. Because you know why? You're going to stop entertaining rubbish around you. You're going to stop saying, oh, I need to hang around with him or him because I'll be lonely. And you'll entertain stupid people who will be like an anchor, and they're anchoring you to the ground, and it's hard for you to move forward. And when you leave them people, it might be hard for a little bit of time, but then they allow you to walk off. And then you realize you start excelling very, very quickly, you know. And that was one of my biggest drawbacks in my early 30s, having the wrong people around me, and I was afraid to be alone. But when I let go of a few of these individuals, you know, as you can see, my growth went exponential. I had more time for myself. I could study more. I could get myself into better rooms and around better people, which allowed me to be better.
Comes back to fear of what you were saying. We fear that if we lose these people around us, then what? Because it's the unknown. And you touched on 50 Cent earlier, and when you read his book, a very smart businessman, he says, I step into the persona of what people want to see. I've never met him, never had the fortune to, but someone like this, very different in real life than he's on stage.
100.
And this is, people aspire to be like that and want that, but actually it's not even a real character.
Well, he's Curtis Jackson and then he's 50 Cent. He's got two very different personas. One is the rapper who's been shot 9 times and still breathing. Come on, baby. However he does it, you know. And then there's the businessman in him that going, I'm rapping right now and I'm working.
Yes.
The real person is the businessman behind. Because remember, when you're a rapper, you're the product.
Yes.
You are the product. So, you know, how much does the product got? You're in somebody else's business. You're the product. So when you become the business, what does he do now? He brokers in another rapper. He'd rather put another rapper that he's saying, I'm going to give you 100, 100,000, baby. That's for you. Boom, done. Or 250. But he's going, well, I've just sold a concert with £100 tickets and I've just had a sellout with, you know, 100,000 people. I've just cleared up £10 million from this event. I've brokered his 100,000 and then I've got to pay a couple of other people. I've made the real money.
Yeah.
And then he's looked around and go, well, what's everyone drinking? Well, they're drinking alcohol. Well, that's a little bit of a taboo. But they're also drinking water. Okay, there's 50 cents there for one water, but there's $2 there for another water. What's the bloody difference between all of them? It's just a bit of branding.
Yes.
That's the only thing that distinguishes it. And so he's put himself and go, well, why don't I bloody buy my own water and then sells it to, you know, Coca-Cola after, which really leveraged him after he done that as a business deal. And then he had that TV series called Power. And he realized that, you know, well, I'm at a certain age. I want to be in the clubs and pubs and doing them things, but I can't because I got a family here. So what would I want to watch on TV? Exactly what I'd rather be doing. So I'll make that episodes for people who do want to do that. What a clever businessman. It's the person who was really clever in a business to say, I'm not going to just stay the product. I'm going to look around. That guy's making the most money. How do I become him? And that's what you really got to look at to be an entrepreneur is don't stay in an employee mindset. Create the entrepreneur mindset. Start thinking how you become the boss. And that's only through upskilling yourself and learning more and more roles.
And these days, learning, when we look at 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I started, information was the biggest challenge. How do I get this? How someone's going to teach me this? Where can I get the information from to learn how to do this thing? But these days, we are information overload. There's just no shortage of information out there. It's the desire to want to do something with it that's key.
Yes. You've just got to know what inspires you and what you're passionate about. Because that way you will use all this information to your benefit. You can work in your evenings and weekend in anything that you're passionate and inspired by. If it's a job for you, you want to switch off as soon as possible and think, there's an information overload. I need to do this job and all this stuff's being said. But when you do something you love and you enjoy, then you can't wait. There's never an information overload. There's never enough you can learn because you go, well, you know, I know one of my videographers, you know, he does all of his editing and he goes, I've just learned something new, transition. I'll put this in. Or guess what? I found a brand new AI. I press this button. The whole episode is edited in 1 minute, Sean.
Yeah.
That's 2 hours saved. And I was like, great. So does that person never stop learning? He's always looking for the next thing.
Yes.
There's apps out there. You press a button and it does all your short form as well. The AI picks up the best bit of the conversations you never stop learning. So if you never stop learning, these things will make your job easier.
Yes.
It will save you 3-4 hours of your time. So is it now worth reading this information? Of course it is. because me growing up, we didn't have as much internet. We didn't have that at our fingertips. I remember calling Sam. We said we're going to meet at the park at 6 o'clock. And then his mom picking up, he left 5 minutes ago. Cool. Thank you, Mrs. Bass. Boom, done.
Yeah.
And I'm running up the road and going, you bloody so-and-so, you said you'll be here. He goes, yeah, I was running a little bit late. I went back home and then had to come back again. We didn't even have the luxury of having a mobile phone. So we have to embrace it. You either embrace it or you get left behind.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you got to use all the tools because other people are. I know I am. I wake up early in the morning and I'm productive as possible. I'll check my bank statements, my rent's all in, look at my emails, any editing that needs to be done, and I'm on top of the day before it's even started.
Yes.
Then it will be like, yeah, let me get out of bed, let me brush my teeth. Then I'm already ahead of the person who hasn't even stepped into the office yet. You know, that's 6 o'clock in the morning, and then 9 o'clock they're going to be doing all that stuff. I'm already in the gym by then. I'm getting ahead. Do you know what I mean? So use everything like, as you said earlier, a sponge.
Yes.
If you want to be something, be a sponge. Absorb everything around you and be the best you can be, because when you get squeezed, you got a lot to give.
Sean, you're such an inspiration. That's absolutely amazing. What's the best way for people to connect with you and reach out to you?
So on social media, on Instagram, it's Sean Land, SeanLand_1. And on YouTube, it's Sean Land, SeanLand LAND. These are the two main platforms that you can reach me on. I'm not really here to sell you anything. I'm just here to build a community. Just follow the journey like Saj. I want my audience to also be following Saj. Follow as many realtors as you can if you're interested in the space, and just feel, who do I relate with the most? So that's what we're looking for. Follow the podcast. My podcast is a little bit different to yours. Like, you stick a little bit more into property and mindset. I'm starting to go
business, entrepreneurship, and
mindset. And
I watched a lot of the podcasts. Very good.
A few other things. And the main thing, I just want you guys to have your mind in the right space. And who knows, in the future, we might bring some few things out. But right now, we're happy doing what we're doing. So make sure you follow, guys. And we'll be giving you as much value as we can as well.
Thank you, Sean. It's such a pleasure.
Look,
thank you so much.
Saj, thank you for having me on. And guys, also watch out for my podcast, because next week, Saj is going to be on my podcast. So you're going to see me hosting that one, and we're going to find out everything about Saj.
It might not be timed like that, but it's happening soon.
Yes, exactly. We don't know when this is coming out, but make sure you drop me some DMs as well, just in case we can ask you some questions in time or however.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Amazing.